The Carabine WZ-29, Poland's proud little rifle that said, "I may not be famous, but I get the job done." It looks like someone took a standard Mauser, gave it a new paint, and whispered, "Be Polish." With a bolt-action mechanism, it fired the 8mm Mauser round. Introduced in 1929, Polish thought it was ready for anything. Then in 1939, Germany invaded. Poland lost, and most WZ-29 ended up being captured and used by the Germans. Lee Enfield No. 4 Mark I. While other countries were busy designing semi-auto rifles for faster fire, the Brits thought, why not just make a bolt action faster? And so the No. 4 Mark I was born. It could fire 20 to 30 aim shots a minute if the soldier was quick enough. Firing the classic .303 British round with a 10-round magazine, it was ridiculously reliable. Rain, mud, or even tea stains, it still worked. Compared to rifles like the German Kar 98K, the Enfield's rate of fire made it feel like the Brits had a bolt-action machine gun in disguise. It was the standard issue rifle of British Army in World War II. And then there is the pattern 1914 Enfield, Britain's backup plan rifle. It also fired the .303 British round, had a 5-round magazine, and was bolt-action. So, not exactly groundbreaking. But it was super accurate, which is why it often found itself in the hands of snipers. Basically, while the Lee Enfield No. 4 Mark I was the rock star, the P14 was the quiet guy in the corner, who just happened to be really good at long-range headshots. The Lisle Carbine, a rifle so quiet, it made ninjas jealous. It was British, bolt-action, and fired the .45 ACP with a 7-round mag. But here's the kicker. It had a built-in suppressor the size of a drainpipe. When fired, the loudest sound was just the bolt clicking. Here's how it sounded when fired. Special forces used it for stealth operations or any mission where silence was everything. Meet the Gewehr 98, the granddaddy of German rifles. Designed in 1898 by Paul Mauser, it was still hanging around in World War II, like your grandpa showing up to a gaming tournament with a typewriter. At nearly 4 feet long, it was one of the longest infantry rifles of the war. It fired the same powerful 8mm Mauser round that could drop you with one shot. Although used in smaller numbers by reserve units, it had several variants still in use, such as the Kar 98A, Kar 98B, and Kar 98AZ. But the star of the show was its successor, the Carabiner 98K. If World War II had a Most Popular Rifle award, this thing would have walked the red carpet. With over 14 million units produced, it was basically the shorter, cooler, younger cousin of the old Gewehr 98. Chambered in 8mm Mauser with a 5-round magazine, its big drawback was being bolt action, while rivals had semi-autos. Still, despite the slow reload, the Carabiner 98K was accurate, powerful, and reliable in every place: mud, snow, sand, and probably even your grandfather's basement. The M1903 Springfield, the oldest rifle used by Americans in World War II, a bolt action with 5 rounds of .30-06. It wasn't fast, but it was tough, reliable, and could hit targets over 1,000 yards. In fact, it served as a sniper rifle in the early stages of the war. Then came its famous successor, the M1 Garand, the rifle General Patton himself called the greatest battle implement ever devised. It became the standard issue rifle of the U.S. in World War II. It was semi-automatic and held 8 rounds of .30-06. While 8 rounds doesn't sound like much today, back then it was like bringing a bazooka to a stick fight. It gave U.S. soldiers way more firepower than most enemies still stuck with bolt actions. Before the Garand, soldiers had to manually work their bolt after every shot. With the Garand, just pull the trigger and relax. And then there's the famous ping sound when the clip ejected. Some claim enemies waited for that sound to charge. Others say it's just a myth. But either way, it's legendary. But not every soldier carried a Garand. Meet the M1 Carbine, America's lightweight rifle champion. Designed by David Marshall Williams and colleagues in 1941, it fired the .30 carbine round, held a 15 or 30 round mag, and was semi-automatic. Basically, it gave soldiers more firepower than a pistol and weighed less than an M1 Garand, perfect for those who wanted to run fast or survive longer. Was it as powerful as the Garand? Nope. Could it reach across 200 yards? Not quite. But in close quarters, jungles, or paratrooper landings, it was the best weapon to go with. The Arisaka Type 38. It fired the 6.5mm cartridge, had a 5-round magazine, and was known for being tough, reliable, and so long you could almost use it as a pole. It was nearly 50 inches long. Japanese soldiers valued it because it was rugged and accurate, though not as powerful as some rivals. Still, it could hit targets at long range. And then the Arsaka Type 99, Japan's upgrade package for World War II. Think of it as the Type 38, but hitting the gym and switching to a bigger caliber. It fired the 7.7 round, had a 5-round magazine, and was built to be tough. Some stories even claim it was tested by dropping it out of airplanes, and it still worked. Though there's no evidence confirming that, it still was tough. It came with an anti-aircraft sight, because apparently the Japanese thought soldiers might shoot down planes with a bolt-action rifle. Thanks to its reliability and durability, it became Japan's standard-issue rifle in World War II. The Mannlicher 35M. It wasn't your average bolt action. It had a straight pull bolt, meaning instead of lifting and turning, you just pull it straight back. Sounds simple, right? Except for the fact that if you tried to clean it, reload it, or even look at it funny, it could jam faster than a cappuccino machine at rush hour. It fired the 8mm Mannlicher, which was fine, if you could find ammunition. It served Hungary throughout World War II, but it was often handed over to German units when Hungary switched sides or retreated. Let's just say its loyalty was uncertain. Lebel Model 1886. Designed by a team of 8 people, most notable: Basile Gras, Nicolas Lebel, Paul-Marie Eugène, and others. It was introduced in 1886, meaning this rifle had seen it all. The turn of the century, the invention of cars, the First World War, and now World War II. Basically, the French army handed soldiers something that was technically vintage collectible. French soldiers had mixed feelings. Some called it reliable, others called it prehistoric, and a few just used it as a walking stick or a club when ammo ran out. Later in 1936, the French made an upgrade and introduced the Mass 36. It fired the 7.5mm French cartridge, a perfectly respectable round. Except in 1940, when the rifle was brand new, the French army had more soldiers than bullets. Talk about bad timing. France introduced it just as Germany came knocking, which meant a whole lot of Mass 36 ended up in German hands. Ironically, the rifle fought more for Hitler than for France. And while most rifles of the era had a nice straight bolt, the Mass 36 had a bent one, supposedly to make cycling faster. The Mosin Nagant. Built in 1891 by Sergei Mosin and Emil Nagant, they fused their names to come up with the Mosin Nagant name, and by the time World War II rolled around, it was already old. But did the Soviets care? Of course not. If it had a barrel and a trigger, it was ready for service. The Mosin wasn't just a rifle. With the bayonet attached, it basically became a pike. And forget shooting. You could poke a German from across the street. And the best part? You couldn't kill this rifle if you tried. Drop it in mud, snow, or a vat of vodka. It'll still work. It used a bolt-action mechanism and fired the 7.62 by 54R. Its recoil was so strong you didn't just shoot the enemy, you also shot your own shoulder. During the war, the Soviets pumped out millions of these that many are still around today, and you can find one for less than $200. Meet the Mosin Nagant M38 Carbine, the shorter version of the Mosin rifle. Same mechanism, same power, but now in a more compact, portable package. The Soviet chopped the barrel of the Mosin, and the M38 was born. Firing the full-size Mosin was already a workout, but the M38, it was a nightmare. Imagine the same massive cartridge, less barrel to absorb the blast, and your shoulder acting as the shock absorber. You basically didn't fire this thing. It fired you. Nevertheless, the Soviets loved it anyway. So, to sum up, the Mosin Nagant M38 was short, loud, violent, and still somehow reliable. The Hanyang Type 88, the rifle that somehow survived from the 19th century all the way into World War II. Think of it as the Nokia brick of rifles. Old, heavy, but hard to kill. It started as a German Gewehr 88 back in the 1880s. China looked at it and said, "Nice, we'll take 8 million of those," and thus the Hanyang 88 was born. Despite being ancient, it worked. It fired the 8mm Mauser round, strong enough, but accuracy was questionable. China had millions of these, but not enough bullets. Basically, soldiers had to shoot like they were on a budget. MKB-42. Germany's test run for a brand new idea, a weapon that fired a medium cartridge, the 7.92 Kurz with controllable automatic fire, meaning it gave soldiers more firepower than a bolt action without the back pain of carrying around a machine gun. It came in 2 flavors, MKB-42H by Hanyang, and MKB-42W by Walter. And just like Coke and Pepsi, everyone had an opinion on which one was better. Except here, the winner evolved into the famous STG-44, the world's first true assault rifle. It also fired the 7.92 Kurz round, had select fire, and a 30-round mag. In 1944, this was like showing up to a sword fight with a lightsaber. Soldiers loved it, but it did had one drawback. Carrying enough ammo to feed this thing was like packing for a weekend trip, except your suitcase was full of bullets. It influenced almost every assault rifle that came after it. Yes, even the AK-47. You can call it the great granddad of all assault rifles. Some argue the Fedorov Avtomat deserves that title. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. The Carcano M91, Italy's official battle rifle of World War II. Designed in 1891 by Salvatore Carcano, by the time World War II broke out, it had seen more birthdays than some of the soldiers carrying it. And while most countries were handing out modern rifles, Italy said, "We still got this in the basement." It fired the 6.5 Carcano with a 6-round magazine. Like the M1 Garand, it had an en-bloc clip system. Great idea, but it made a very loud ping sound when empty, basically telling the enemy, "Hey, I'm out of ammo." The M91 had a little brother, the Carcano M38, which was shorter and handier than the M91. Initially chambered in 7.35 Carcano, it was later reverted in the original 6.5 because Italy couldn't afford to switch calibers. Both the M91 and M38 were underpowered compared to other World War II rifles, and Italian soldiers didn't love it. But here's the twist. The M38 became world famous years later. Some reports says the M38 was used in the assassination of President John F. Kennedy.